All right, welcome everybody. Let's call our special meeting for the City Council of the City of Perry for May 13th, making up for last week since we had storms. Let's have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams. Brown. Wortham.
Here. All right, we've got quorum. Derek will offer our invocation for today.
Please pray with me. Lord, thank you for all your blessings, and thank you for this community, and thank you for allowing us to have this meeting tonight. And Lord, I pray that you'll be with those in need, the other communities that have been hit with some disasters, and anyone ill or ailing. Lord, please bring wisdom to us tonight and help us make decisions that glorify you. I pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, item number 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, motion and second. That roll call.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to items on the city agenda. Anybody? All right. Item number 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Do you have any proclamations or
We
commendations?
do have an accommodation. We did receive, our electric department received a certificate of excellence in reliability. Is to acknowledge that the city of Perry has significantly exceeded the 5-year average for all U.S. electrical utilities for reliable electric service. The utility participates in the American Public Power Association's e-reliability tracker service to track its power outages and restoration against national benchmarks. They received that in April. It was supposed to be presented to them last meeting, but you know, Mother Nature had her thing, so. But we just wanted to acknowledge our electric department for their job well done again.
Yeah, they did a great job last week with some of the power outages that we had. I mean, our guys are on top of it all the time.
This isn't the first time we've got this award, right?
No,
This was several, if I recall.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's just Brian and 1, 2 other guys.
I think they have a 4-man crew.
Yeah, they got a 4-man crew taking care of the city of Perry. They work hard, they do a lot.
And a lot of county.
And a lot of the county as well. So. All right. We got council reports. Let's start with Ward 1. Scott? Good.
Don't have anything this time.
All right.
I'll leave it up to Gloria.
All right, Gloria. She's always got something.
Gloria's out sick.
Yep. Joe? Got anything for us?
Have anything at this time. I don't know if anybody else is going to bring it up. I just want to bring up the fact that the baseball team
Yep.
set a record, or was the first Perry baseball team ever to make it to the state finals. It is a great group of boys, young men, I guess I should say, because they have very well. I can't even think of the words right now, but they have represented Perry very well, even down at Florida and at Shawnee at the state competition as well. So a very good group of young men. I'd be proud of them for representing our community the way they have.
Yeah, they did well. I mean, to make it to the state final, that's great, especially with seeing all of our teams doing fairly well. The girls softball taking state, and then the other
Track
teams,
team.
yeah, track team going to state as well. So we're seeing a lot of great things from our youth.
Not just wrestling.
Not just wrestling. Yeah, it's
I think
across
the
the board.
band had some good.
Yes, we got a
Accommodations.
superior at state
Mhm.
on our concert and excellent in sight reading.
Yeah, that's great. Austin?
Joe did an excellent job. I don't have anything this time.
He beat you to it. All right, Danette?
Well, I'm gonna speak as a citizen
Please do.
with the electric department when Monday, our electricity went out because of that line that went across
Mhm.
Primrose. And I was looking out the window, and it was still lightning, storming, bad weather, and they were over there trying, and I was like, man, these people are crazy. I can live for at least another hour without my electricity, for you to not be out in that weather. So they're very appreciating. I appreciate very much them being Johnny on the spot out there. And then I was scrolling through Facebook and read someone that gave a glowing review of the hospital. They needed to go to the ER, and they got taken care of, and it was nice to see that.
We've got the hospital here, so I mean,
Yeah.
thank
I
you
said
guys
that's
for all you
great to
do.
hear.
I mean,
I'll find that and share that with staff, if you don't mind tagging me in it or sending it to me.
Okay, I'll
I'd
let you know who it
appreciate
was and what they said.
Yeah.
I just like to share the positives with staff, so.
Yeah.
And same thing for our electric department. Nate, if you pass that
I
along to
will.
them.
We start every morning with wins, and that'll be a great one.
There you go. All right, Randy,
I don't have anything new.
you want to tell us about Florida?
No. Might incriminate myself.
Yeah. All right, Sammy?
I had a couple of complaints about the streets, and mostly it's the street Quail Creek, and it's technically the part of Quail Creek that they're complaining about is a private road. It's not really a city or county road, so.
It's owned by the country club.
Oh,
yeah.
It's owned by the golf course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
right there at the
concern
bottom.
because kids ride their bikes and golf carts, and right now there's a huge pothole, which they have put some barricades up just recently, so that's kind of a deterrent, but anyway, that's the only thing I have. So I don't know what we need to do to figure out how to fix that, or who needs to fix it, because it's kind of a gray area.
Right.
So that connection there is not part of the
It's
city?
technically private
Mhm.
road.
So it's owned by the country
Country
club?
club.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There you
But they've said that the city in the past has maintained it, helped like fix potholes and stuff, but I don't know. How that.
I think I have it on my one-on-one with Critter to talk to him this week about. We're gonna go check it out. That's on Thursday, and I mean, Thursday morning.
And the other complaint was just about the whole street being really in bad shape, all the way down to the highway,
go.
so.
Yeah, but that was Jeff.
No, wasn't Jeff.
The pothole, this don't mean anything towards our trash service, but it is most likely caused by the trucks
Maybe truck.
on that road, so.
Mm. All right.
There's two big old stairs right there.
Do they use that little side road
Yeah, they do.
instead of going down?
Yeah, the, down at the bottom, like she was saying, is where the country club's
Dumpsters.
Dumpsters.
dumpsters are.
And the grease trap.
Where the actual big pothole is the last house that's getting picked up there,
Mm.
before you go down into the, right?
Yep, yeah, it's just on the west side of the driveway, that house, the last house.
Where they would roll their trash out to the street.
Gotcha. I saw Nate taking notes. So follow up on that.
Yep.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. We'll have our committee reports. We're going to start off with a presentation by Stillwater Medical. And they're going to give us a little update about how things are going with the renovation and how things are going over in the hospital.
Yeah, thanks for having me tonight. I'm Courtney Kuskowski. I'm president and CFO of your facility here in Perry. Kind of near and dear to my heart. Not only do I live in the community, but I've serviced it for 15 years at that facility. So I love this little hospital. Kind of a quick update on where we're at construction-wise. Nava Holtz is our construction manager. They issued construction documents via it's a program called Building Connect, and that's where the subcontractors can go on, look at the project and before they make bids to see if they want to bid on it. We did hold 2 on-site pre-bid meetings where subcontractors could come on-site and look at the building, look above the ceiling, look at the systems they would be replacing to see if they were interested. Those were very well attended by subcontractors. I will say They also advertise to subcontractors in an Oklahoma City paper, a Tulsa paper, and of course our local paper. There's been an abatement contractor on site gathering samples. So that's for testing for things like asbestos and things like that. We've submitted, there were several requests for information from the subcontractors. So the architects were busy getting those answers. So that did delay our sealed bid openings. It was supposed to happen last Tuesday. It will actually happen tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the hospital. The state has denied our initial stage 2 submittal for the project. Nothing major in there that would prevent final approval, just some small clarifications on the project design from the architects, so they're working on that as well. Kind of an update where we're at financially. We've made great progress in our bottom line since we became a rural emergency hospital. For example, in 2022, when we were still an acute care hospital, we lost just over $1 million. In 2023, when we actually made the switch to a rural emergency hospital, our loss was cut in half to only about $512,000 with the additional reimbursement that we got from the federal government. And so far this year, if things remain the same, we'll be on track to lose only $275,000. So we continue to make great progress with that designation change and our bottom line. So great news. So lots of celebrations for your staff here at the Perry campus, system-wide for Stillwater. We were voted Newsweek's World Best Hospital for the 4th year in a row, one of Newsweek's best hospital, world's best hospital. Also for Newsweek, we're on their list as a global leader for infection prevention and patient experience. So that's kudos to our staff. Stillwater Medical Center as a system was also on Forbes 2024 list for America's Best Mid-Size Employers. March 30th, we celebrated National Doctors Day, so we got to celebrate our wonderful providers. April 2nd, we held our Stillwater Medical System, celebrated our annual service awards, where we recognize our employees for their tenure at increments of 5, 10, 15, and we had 10 employees from the Perry campus with services ranging from 5 to 35 years of service to the community. Last week, the week of the 5th through the 11th, we celebrated National Nurses Weeks, celebrating our amazing nursing staff. And this week is actual National Hospital Week, so we're celebrating all of the hospitals. And that's all I have, unless there are questions.
Yes, we have questions for Courtney.
I've got one. It sounds like you're making great progress towards profitability.
Mm-hmm.
What is the plan or the forecast, or, I mean, $250,000 still a pretty big red ink.
Yeah, so we continue to evaluate expenses. One of the biggest expenses we have at the facility is the provider expense in the ER, because we have to have a physician in the building 24/7. One of the things that we can do that we evaluate is whether we put an advanced practice practitioner, so that would be a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant in the ER. So that's just some discussions to get comfort level from our medical staff that we can add those providers. Other than that, the renovation can help when we don't have to maintain such old systems. That maintenance cost also goes down.
Maybe I can just step in real quick. It seems like something I've heard with rumors is people taking their loved ones directly to Stillwater versus Perry Hospital. And one issue we're having is just not enough people are coming in, right? So you guys can still do everything that
Yes.
you've done traditionally in the
Yes,
past?
all of our outpatient services remain the same from when we made that designation switch. The only thing that we have to watch is we can have an observation stay that averages 24 hours in a 12-month period. So if they need an extended stay past that, we would have to look at getting them to a higher level of care. Other than that, our services have remained the same.
So it sounds like Perry residents take your loved ones to Perry Hospital.
Yes. We have all the same equipment, same staff that we had before we made the switch, so we can treat everything we treated before.
All right. Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome.
All right. As far as committees, planning committee, do you guys, planning, zoning, whatever you guys want to name it?
We had a decent one today. We've got one ordinance that will go before the planning commission on the 30th. what month are we in? May. And then we've got 2 more that will go before planning committee on the 27th. We gotta have time to get those in the paper and,
27th of June.
or June,
Right.
June 27th. So hopefully they'll go through planning and then they'll end up back here. So, and those are, I'm gonna talk about what they are, but one of them is for the historic edition that we've been working on early, FFD.
Historic preservation.
Right.
Mhm.
With that, I guess kind of question, so we had approved that to go through May or to the beginning of May?
That, we took care of that portion of it a few meetings back.
Okay.
So that's permanent now.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And we kind of set a district in that, but we'll have a actual formal district set up and coming before planning and us in the future as well.
Nice.
Which is I think that's the June 27th
Gotcha.
timeframe, right?
Yep. Okay.
All right. Other committees? I don't think we have any other ones. Or the hospital, yeah, we just heard that. We kind of got the update on that one.
And then we've got the flooding committee that, we had a little event there. Neighbor backed into the new curb that we put up and broke it,
Oh,
so.
because it was too high, they,
I-
Or just not
So-
put me in there?
right?
From what I've seen of the damage, it wouldn't have mattered. They hit it pretty good,
Gotcha.
so I guess we're
Yeah, so.
evaluating that.
Yeah, so we're evaluating it. According to Critter, the purpose should still hold.
Mhm.
In terms of flooding, it should prevent any flooding that happens between now and the fix. I'm working with the police department to get the police report. They sent that over today. Then the next step is just to work with the insurance of the driver to get reimbursed for that. So it's all in hand.
Okay. Good to hear.
We- On that, so we talked about the concrete down at the end where we went in and opened that up so we could get the flood water. Do you have any updates on?
Yeah, Critter expects to do it within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'll put the concrete in. We talked about maybe seeding as well, but we actually feel pretty confident that it'll just naturally kind of seed. It'll be, weedy, but
Mhm.
who cares as long as it's
Yeah.
doing what it's supposed
It's
to
not a
do.
golf course.
So we're gonna keep our eye on it, yeah, but we'll get that concrete in within the next couple weeks and then just watch to see if it naturally seeds.
Okay.
Good deal.
I've got a question of zoning, I think, but it may be
No, go for it.
not the right time, but what about the dilapidated, abandoned houses around town? Is there anything in the ordinance or anything we can do to force those owners to do something with them?
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
yes, and we're supposed to. So if you have any favorites,
Excellent.
you can give those.
I will get you a list.
Yeah, you can get a list because we have a
too.
whole, we have a whole process and a procedure for
Good.
that.
We already have that in place?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there are some that are falling down that, good.
All
Made
right.
my evening. Thank you.
And also, yeah, if anybody wants to put together a list, send it on over to Nate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just speak in real quick. I have had people reaching out to me, and I do appreciate that, right? So I can write down those addresses and work with our team to do what we can. The biggest issue is cost.
Mhm.
We can tie it back to the property and say, hey, if this property ever sells, we get a portion of that sale, right? And that can go towards our cost. But there's some loopholes in Oklahoma law. I've been told that we don't always get the proceeds of that sale, which makes it a little bit of a challenge. The other part of that is we have to come up with funds now, where we might not get those back for quite some time.
You mean if the city cleans it up?
Yes, yes.
Or if we hire a contractor, I mean,
Yeah.
really what you
Right.
need to do, and as a part of your budget, if you want to address certification of dilapidated structures, then you make a appropriation for that purpose, and we will certainly spend all of it. We can't
Yeah.
promise you that we'll get it back because, you know, most of the folks that let their house run down don't pay their taxes. And, you know, the other way you can do it is you can work with the homeowner to acquire the lot, okay? Because we have had a lot of infill construction, and so it may be advantageous to get a inventory of those, but that really needs to be done on a comprehensive basis in an area in which you think you can do infill construction. But, you know, those lots to redo, they're $20,000 to $30,000 a piece to get them connected to water, sewer, street. You know, even with, you know, if there's a driveway there, there's a real cost in doing that you wouldn't have to pay if you can get infill done. And we've been very successful in getting developers doing some infill, haven't we, Scott?
Yes,
I mean, we've been successful in that, so.
we have one
Yeah,
here.
those are the ones here, yeah, big.
Yeah,
big
yeah,
stairs,
yeah.
yeah.
One.
Well, and if we had an inventory, we could decide how many of those we wanted to attack.
Do a
each
year, right?
Yeah, so maybe just in summation, please continue to send those our way. We have a list that we'll add them to. It's not always as simple as go take care of this.
No, I understand.
Just so residents understand that there's a due process there, and then it ultimately always comes back to funding, right? But yes, please continue to send them.
Good question. Thank you, Randy. All right. No one else? Anything else? Let's move on to item number 6, our city manager report and update.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to do this in 2 ways. The first is going to be kind of a return and report from the last tasks that you asked me to do, the last meeting. And then the second will be an overview of a couple of larger projects and kind of where we've moved on those. So in terms of returning and reporting from last time, I think the big issue was streets. And there were several brought up specifically. The first was 8th Street, north of Fur, and Critter worked with his team to get some potholes filled there. We also went out and looked at that one. It's pretty deteriorated to the point where something major will have to be done. The financing doesn't work to contract that out, so we're still looking at the in-house option, which should be this month sometime. We're going to Blackwell to check that out, and I've updated all of you on that. The second was 9th Street in between Cedar and Delaware. That one's kind of the same way, where it's just a total replacement that's going to need to be done. Critter's been waiting on that one, if I remember correctly, because the pipes underneath needed to be redone. And so Vernon, Critter, and I went out together, took a look at that, and Vernon said, oh yeah, I can redo those. So we took a step in the right direction there. And that'll will allow Critter to do what he can do in terms of replacing what he can. But ultimately, it will have to be done in-house as well.
I have a question with these streets. So these streets are we tracking or marking on a map or something, like which ones are concrete, which ones are asphalt? And then like, do we have a plan, like, you know, moving forward, do we want to just do asphalt or just do, I mean, if we have that zipper and we're going to be using that, that doesn't work for concrete, right?
Right.
So ideally, we would want to just do asphalt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think asphalt's traditionally been done. The reason a lot of people want to go concrete is because the pricing of asphalt has gone up so high that it's pretty close
Right.
to concrete, where concrete's a more concrete solution, a more permanent solution. But yeah, you're right. The equipment, in terms of what we have and what's available, asphalt's a lot less expensive to do in-house. Right. So I don't know. They're kind of, to answer your question, I need to make a list that has all the streets and says, oh, these are the priorities, these are the ones we'll do. And I think that would come after determining, oh, what would it take to actually do this in-house? So.
Could we not overlay a concrete street with asphalt?
Could we? Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can,
And then still use the zipper, you know, years later over that.
if we needed to.
Yes, well,
Right,
do a
if we had to
patch or-
replace that.
And that might be one issue we're running into, and this is a question we'll ask Blackwell when we're out there, is you have to have a really good base, right? Otherwise you're just putting stuff down and it just continues to sink. Blackwell has a lot of, I guess, kind of those paving stones or brick streets that they put stuff on top of. And I guess Critter's concern is a lot of the streets that we're worried about don't have something like that already down. So anyway, there's still a lot of questions with the streets and how we're gonna tackle them. I feel like we are moving in a positive direction in terms of using the zipper, in terms of having a plan of what we're gonna do going forward. But it's just gonna take a little bit of time. You know, we have to go out and we have to evaluate and ask questions to the experts. And unfortunately, they didn't do any roads in April. So we've had to kind of just wait around until they do those roads so we can go and witness it and ask those questions.
Gotcha. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're just fine. The next one was the alleyway behind Homeland. Critter has looked at that one. I guess AT&T is doing some work there right now and has it blocked off. So he hasn't been able to get in and smooth it out, but he's been watching it, and once they leave, he will go in and smooth that out.
Can I pause there a second?
Yeah, no, you're just fine.
Huh?
Yeah.
Were you
Just
gonna-
graded or?
Yeah, I was wondering what, because I know there has been some concern with the level changes between the church and the Homeland parking lot there. So whatever we do, want to make sure we don't make that
Worse.
any worse.
Okay.
So,
Let me put
Yeah,
that as a comment to bring it up. Okay. Any other thoughts or concerns on that one? Okay. The speed limit signs by the swimming pool, that is something I'm excited about because we got it 100% finished. So if you notice, there's 2 street signs by the swimming pool now going both directions. And Critter and Chief Thomas did a great job of evaluating that, getting it done, so kudos to them. And then seeding the drainage area, we already talked about that, and putting the piece of concrete, which will be done in the next 2 weeks, is our timeline on that. So those were all follow-ups from our prior meeting. I feel like we've made good steps on the ones that we can, and on some of the more permanent solutions, we do have a plan going forward on how we're gonna tackle them, although we don't have anything yet. So, any other questions or follow-up items on those follow-up items?
Has there been any conversation on the building facility and the roofs for any of that information? Any of that come back yet?
Yeah, on how we're gonna tackle, like, you're talking the mechanic shop and the streets.
Just making sure we're
roof.
maintaining the buildings we own, yeah.
Yeah, so we have $17,000, I guess, for the mechanic shop. I just need to get bids on what it's gonna cost to actually fix that roof. I think it's gonna be worth doing. We plan on utilizing that mechanic shop. I've been looking at what it would take to bring in an in-house mechanic versus outsourcing. And we thought it would actually be, like, we'd be able to hire someone full-time and still save money. That's not actually the case. Most of a big portion of the money we spend goes towards parts, which we would still have to buy, obviously, if we had an in-house mechanic. We could probably justify, and I'll bring this up in the budget meeting that we have, but we could probably justify a part-time mechanic, part-time facilities guy. So we're looking at that as an option. But anyway, sorry, that kind of got off tangent. So yeah, the mechanic shop, we have that 17,000 go towards that roof, and we're going to.
It's across the street.
Yeah, the one right
Yeah.
across the street.
So the insurance thing didn't pan out?
That's the 17,000.
Oh,
that
okay,
they
that
gave.
is,
Yeah.
okay, I got
Yep.
you.
Yeah. So in terms of the
That only
streets,
fixes part of that roof.
sorry, say that
I don't
again.
think we know.
I mean, it was, at one point, we were talking about fixing just the roof over what was the shop and the old showroom / offices we were just gonna leave. Is that still the plan?
I don't have anything on that.
The
We'd have
last
to get a
thing that
quote.
I talked to the insurance, if we don't replace the whole roof, they will not cover the building.
Okay, good. That makes sense.
So we have 17,000 to go towards the whole roof, yeah, so we might have some out of our pocket, but it's good to have that 17.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, maybe a good building isn't the right word. There's some issues, obviously, with, if you've been in at that backside, there's literally a crack in the wall that you can see out of. But it's good in the fact that it could be utilized very well for what we want to utilize it for. I don't want to let that one go by any means. I think that there's some potential there. I'm working with streets right now, and we're trying to come up with the best plan for them. They really don't want to go just to that building because it doesn't have the space they need for all of their stuff, and they feel like they would waste a lot of time if they had all their equipment down in their current yard and then they operated out of this building across the street. So we're still trying to figure out what to do exactly there, and I'll have some proposals when it comes to the budget for this budget season. But yeah, the plan isn't to fix that roof, obviously, because it's not our building for the streets department roof.
Oh, is that their current, yeah, right.
Yeah. And I think those are the two major roof issues that we have.
All right.
Did that answer that question for you? Okay. Awesome. So I do have a couple of updates for larger projects, which would be, really there was just three that I wanted to touch on. One was the Stillwater Medical, the hospital project, which I feel like we got pretty good updates there. I asked them today if we're still shooting for the end of May for our guaranteed maximum price. And they said that that might be pushed to the first week of June due to the subcontractors not doing the bidding on the week that we thought they would because they had some follow-up questions. But yeah, so we're still looking for the first week of June, hopefully the end of May still for the guaranteed maximum price there. Another major project update, the DW SRF water projects, which is that railroad board that they're working on right now. That's still on time and going well. Vernon, Will, and Matco have been working really well with the contractors on that. I feel like things are going well. And then the sidewalk project, Robert Shears is doing for us. We got in the final proposal, which the proposal is for the sidewalk to extend from in front of Wilda's Eye Care and go north up to Ivanhoe Street, which would leave it just a couple streets short of the other project that's going on Locust. But we ran out of funding before reaching that, so that would have to be kind of a future one to totally connect those. But that'll be really good, I think. I mean, it's a $700,000 grant, us paying an additional $70,000 to that, so a pretty good match there. Those are the major updates in terms of projects. I guess one from this morning, Christy, is that one with the PREP grant, right? That Matt sent us all the documentation for that, and that's a $260,000 grant. The idea behind that one is to get projects prepped to the point of marketing and saying, hey, this is shovel ready, so that you can attract development that way. And we have all the documentation for that. We'll send it in by the 15th, so we have just 2 days, and we have it already. We just need to upload it to the portal. So Christy's done an awesome job working with Matt on that one.
Actually, Matt texted me earlier, did you get those? I'm gonna work on that tomorrow morning. So I don't forget this.
Like I said, he's done awesome work.
I've been impressed with Matt. He's President Welling's going after grants for us, so that's awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Honestly, he's fantastic to work with, and we're really grateful for him.
Have we looked at any TSET grants in the last few years?
Not the last couple. Mia and Melanie had talked about them, because we still have a 25,000 that we can get to take us to the gold level. So we had talked about doing that. We just hadn't figured out what for sure and where. I know Scott had mentioned to us a couple times about there's some tennis courts that are really needing to get some updates. There's some pretty good cracks in the ones down at the Leo Park. We could use them for that. I mean, little things of updating some of the parks instead of getting some equipment. We probably need to get some repairs done on some of this other stuff first. Yeah.
Just haven't heard in a while.
It's talking, it just hasn't, the deadlines are very short, and when me and Melanie thought about it, it was like a week away, and I was like, I don't know if we can work that fast, but, so we are keeping it in mind for the next round.
Yeah, so one thing we've been working on with staff is getting a document that shows all the possible funding and deadlines and contacts and things like that, so that next year, as things come around, we can be looking ahead. I feel like this year it's been just really, really reactive since I've come in, right? It's been like, oh crap, we have this grant, we have that grant, and they're always like a week out. It's like, oh, we don't have time to do this. But having a document for next year where we can look ahead and be proactive, I feel like will be so helpful. And that's something that we're working on as staff.
Good. The 250 prep grant, what project is it being aimed at?
That one was for
The South Commercial Industrial
Yep.
Park. What it will do, it'll provide engineering dollars to put in roads, utilities,
Okay.
sites there, so it's in, the other grant was a prep grant, the one that took the sewer line there.
Mhm.
And so this will further that, get the sewer line there, but what about the rest of it? So it's really an engineering grant to allow that to be all laid out.
Good.
Thank you. Great questions. I think that's all I have for this meeting. If there's any other updates specifically that you want, please let me know.
I did have, you have my one, did you have a meeting with that today?
Yeah, so I didn't have the meeting, the commissioners did though, and it was on their agenda.
Okay.
I texted Jason to ask him how that went. I haven't heard back yet.
Do maybe a report on that for next Monday? We have a council meeting next Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. Love some.
All right, any other questions for Nate? No? All right. On to item number 7, Meredith, Chief Financial Officer, remarks and invoice.
All right, so invoice is behind number 7 on your tabs, our monthly work, and then union meetings with both the fire and the police. Some calculations on their request, we did receive those. And then budget prep and follow up on that. Nate's been working on the budget, we've been working together on it. Nate's asked that we break down the budget by line item detail. So that's a voluminous task with line items. So we are working through that. And he's asked that we go back 2 years. So we are working on that process. The hope was that we would have something to you for the meeting on the 15th. What we will probably try to do, depending upon how far we get, is to get a summarized document like what you're normally used to seeing and continue to work on that, the line item detail, but you would at least have some information to look at on a summary level, which is consistently what this commission has reviewed and approved. So that's the plan.
The good news on that is you can always approve, like you have in the past, and we can always do a revision once the line items are ready to go.
Russ talked about doing a little bit of small preparatory group type work. Or do we have any?
I don't have dates on that
for
yet. We kind of got involved in the breaking out process to see what we could get done in time. So that kind of shifted the focus to try to work through that. And then you are required, I'm required to give to them, you're required to give to them a budget by June 1st, 30 days before the beginning of the fiscal year. So that will happen. And then we'll plan on doing probably meetings after that.
Perfect. Just as a reminder, because we have Austin who's new, and Randy who's new. What are the dates?
So
that we have to. that we're gonna be
Municipal
getting?
Budget Act says that 30 days before the beginning of the fiscal year, which we are on a July 1st beginning of fiscal year, you all have to receive a copy of the budget. Doesn't have to be anything that you're going to approve, but you have to receive a copy of it. And you have to hold a public hearing. That public hearing has to be 15 days before the beginning of the fiscal year. 5 days before that public hearing happens, it needs to be published in the newspaper, a summary of that. Christy always takes care of that. The actual budget has to be approved 7 days before the beginning of the fiscal year. So, and then the public has 30 days to file a grievance or any sort of issue with the budget itself. So,
Those are the requirements, but we can have them earlier, right?
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, I'm approving a budget tomorrow night, which I'm very excited about. So, yes.
You an
Yes, I can.
overachiever?
So council, just so you know, those are the dates. So June can get busy.
June can get busy.
Right.
Yes.
More meetings.
Right. So we could possibly have extra meetings if we can't come in agreement on a budget. We have to have it passed and approved 7 days. I mean, we have those deadlines that we have to meet. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're coming into June with your schedules and just questions that you have coming up.
What I'm hearing from Derek is next year, Nate, let's do this
Early.
earlier.
Earlier.
And I hear you loud and clear.
Earlier would be better. Yeah.
We'll have the line item detail of the structure set up by then, so.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it pertains as much to city or city revenue, but you mentioned we're gonna go back to 2 years to kind of look at what we've done. When we were looking at fiscal '23 and now fiscal '24 budget at work, we actually went back and did a lot of research on years prior to the pandemic, because in construction and retail, things were way different
Sure.
prior to the
Sure.
pandemic. So it gave us at least some benchmarks to look at to go, what's it going to look like as we're coming out? I don't know if we can project those kind of impacts at a city level or not, but I just wonder if it would pay to, and I don't want to add to the bill, but would it pay to go back further than just 2 years to look
Right.
at what we're...
So what's minimally required, the state actually has a prescribed formatting that we need to use, and the minimum requirement is 1 year of history. So when Nate and I talked, he had asked specifically for 2 years of history to try to get us, so he could see some patterns as he's working through this. So the further you go back,
The more it costs.
we can do it.
Yeah, it's kind of balancing, right?
Yeah.
Balancing the workload.
That sounds like you've
That
done
was just
some
me
of that
thinking
work.
out loud. I was not making
Yes.
any suggestions there.
Yeah, I mean, starting with 2 at least would be great, right, to see what those look like, and we may have questions from there and say, oh, is this an average? Maybe the 2 will be very different, in which case it'll be like, we need more data. Or maybe the 2 will be really close, and it'll say, oh, that gives us a pretty good average idea of what the budget should look like in that area.
Well, once you have the data for 2, next year it'll be 3.
Right. Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Meredith? Seeing none. Thank you, Meredith. Let's go on to item number 8, presentation of city attorney report and monthly invoice.
In order to help implement the council's direction on roles, I spent the whole front part of April in preparing memos and attaching contracts and document information for Nate to bring him up to speed with some of my work, including that in Perry Lake, the Malzahn Family Affiliated Fund, OMPA, NODA, rates, hospital, PAWS organization, the E911 agreement, the Cottage Edition agreement, and the Crow agreement. And that was pretty much memos on who are the players, where are we, and attaching all those documents so that he can take the forward role on a lot of that, and also can better direct me on how he wants me to work on those things. In economic development, we mentioned the cottage addition agreement and the roadie agreement that we're going to be considering tonight. Also, I contacted ASIC with American Inn. He hopes that in the next few weeks he'll have something more comprehensive to give us. He's gotten the all clear on the buildings there. I know we haven't seen a lot of demolition out there yet, but he said he's hired a demolition contractor. That ought to occur. He's continued to make contacts with the business that he's going to put there and the ancillary businesses, and all that will come back to you as soon as he gets that to me, which he assured me will be quickly. On legislative matters, when we got that bill where the grocery tax was taken away from the state sales tax, the legislature pegged us with a moratorium that no sales tax that we passed for a year could also charge grocery tax. I called, and when I got back April 1st, I got a call from Alan Brooks, our bond lawyer, on that. I called Senator Hall on that, and that provision was repealed already. So before it even went into session. So we are not limited, no municipality is limited in what it can do. It needs to make up its own mind. We've heard about the Planning and Zoning Committee. I have worked with them directly. I've done a detailed historic preservation notice. I've made changes to the historic preservation ordinance, including an appeal provision where decisions of the commission, if an appeal is properly brought, can be brought to this entity to allow a little bit of control there. We've broadened the persons that could serve on the HP board, at least in draft. And of course, all this is going to come to you, and you can amend it however you want. But first, it's going to go to the Planning Commission on May 30th. It's my understanding that the notice was in the paper on Sunday. And as Scott said, there will be 2 more ordinances that are brought in June. One having to do with sexually orientated business, and the other one creating the Perry Family Friend zoning district. On contracts and leases and easements, I've been talking to Jim Davis. We heard about a concern, a garbage truck, that, there's always issues with garbage. One of the big issues with garbage is what the cost is and what the cost is to change. The one thing about Davis is not only does he pick up the garbage twice a week, which is very unusual, he has an agreement, and that agreement to pick up brush, and that's not just brush that's cut up, but brush that's pulled out to the rights of way. And that's been in the contract for a long time, although it wasn't really enforced under the last city manager. That's something that we're looking at going forward. That's always been in the agreement. The other thing that I think is essential to the public is the convenience center and the service that provides. Every time we send this out for bid, there hasn't been anyone that's been interested in doing those 2 things. They're interested in pick up the garbage 1 time a week, but they will offer you a more motorized system, a 1-person truck, probably a prettier truck. In Japan, all the garbage trucks were painted pretty, like green and pink and blue, and just wild colors. It was crazy. All their public works and their manholes were all decorated and painted. I mean, they were all different. It's really crazy what they do in public in public utilities over in Japan. I also prepared some easements and some other things that Nate directed me to do. I helped Nate work on all the project work schedules. And I helped with putting together some of these agendas for not just PFA Holdings, but the council meeting. I will tell you today, and this is probably more appropriate to talk about at the next meeting, but I worked on it pretty much all day, and that's a response to the 404 permit via a comment period. We're talking about Perry Lake. We're talking about the 404 permit period, which provides for they're wanting to see some, we can't start the construction until we go through this comment period and until we get this permit issued, and that permit really goes to mitigation that is caused by us raising the dam level. We got 28 different interests acquired as a part of the Perry Lake project, 28 different interests, and only one of them went to eminent domain. As you know, that's set for September 25th. But we did have 3 comments that came in through the core. One was from Lake Farm, that's Mr. Darrell Groom. One came from Mr. and Mrs. Dorman, and one came from Mr. and Mrs. Proctor. And so today I've spent all day kind of going through where we started in earlier, 2017, 18, 19, when we hired appraisers and we had meetings. Any that were here, remember, we had the folks come here, then we sent out offers, then we had individual meetings, then we had it reappraised for higher amounts, and we met with all those 28 folks and worked out deals with all of them, except for one that's going to eminent domain. And so it's important for us to comment clearly back to them, and then they will make comments, and it's part of the whole project. So when I get that done, I was hoping to get that done today. I will get it done in the morning. I'll send that to Nate. I think that you should send that pretty much to each one of the councilmen individually, so you'll just be up to speed with kind of where we are and what our comments are back on all that. There will be a hearing set up at some point where folks can come and talk, and then hopefully we will be in the permit issued and construction period begins. So that's what we're hoping for. Our mitigation is really along Cal Creek, and it's the removal of cedar trees and some other things which aren't going to come at a great cost. I am told, so there's not a big cost there. The one thing that would be nice to have, and that was one of the comments of one of these folks, is what about the road over the dam? And as you know, that is the duty of the sponsor. Now, we have gone twice, maybe 3 times to the county. The county are also sponsors, and we've gone there and we've asked them if they wouldn't participate with us. Got to remember, it's a county road. It's outside of our corporate limits. Although 35th Street is 1/2 hours next to our property that we own, the South Commercial and Industrial Park. The rest of that is a county road. Like I love to say, we are just a property owner. There's water on some of our property, on all of our property. We have some other property around, but we're just like all the other property owners out there. And that's what we are, a property owner with right in that lake. And so, I really think that we need to get with the county, since they're in the business of roads. And as they're allocating their dollars in this next year, it would be nice for them to make an allocation there. I'm told as of today, was the number $657,000. It's a little bit lower than what we've talked about in the past. We've talked about an $800,000 figure, but Meredith went through the numbers today, and that's the number that we're up to. Probably once you add back in the van deal, it'll be it will be hard, but no, we've paid that. Yeah, we put those dollars up. So it would just be nice to have some participation in that, because, as a part of your budget, we're going to have to, there's going to be a number there. Today I spoke to Janet Stewart and reminded her that the state said that they would assist us with 1/2 the cost of that, but it would be nice if the other sponsor also assisted us with that. And so that really is going to take, Nate, maybe members of this board, to go before the county, as you would as any person with an interest in the county would have, and ask that they consider an appropriation for that part of the project. That's what I did in April. Questions?
I'll clarify that my concern was not with Davis and the trash trucks, it was with maybe the quality of the road versus that. I mean, it doesn't matter which trash trucks you're driving, we'd have the same issue.
Absolutely.
I just want to clarify that.
Started to say the dam project, I'm gonna call it Perry Lake project. Got all kind of-
You haven't been here long
That-
enough.
that-
We call it the dam
Okay.
project.
Is that going to raise the lake to a level where we can use it for recreation again?
Well, it's going to be much better than it is now. It's going to be at least 2 feet higher. So, yeah, I mean, although there's no dredging involved, if it goes through the engineering project that we have now, it'll be 2 feet higher. And that's, when you say 2 feet higher, that's back normal dam elevations, because I think, although you have had some rain here, I don't know I think this is as low as I've ever seen the water out there. It's very, very low. And so it would be 2 feet higher than what the normal elevation is. And I can't tell you what that is, but it's significantly higher than it is right now. So I think the answer is yes. It will help us. That's part of the whole purpose. It's not only to help it be a water source and to control flood control, because that is its normal thing. But, it also has a piece for recreation, fishing, recreation, boating, and the like. So this is going to assist with all those purposes.
So I guess it depends the type of recreation you're talking about. I think scuba diving is still probably not your best option.
Yeah, well, that's just the red dirt. Every body of water in Oklahoma, at least this part of it. I was just thinking, if you're trying to sell the initiative to the county, and this is way back when, but when I was young, that lake was more of a recreational area for people that lived in the county. It wasn't just the city of Perry. And so, whether
Well,
it's
I've
fishing or
talked with-
boating or,
I talked with Nate,
you're-
we did that cost increase with the duck blinds, and one of the things that I hope to see happen, this is just me, but being able to use that, as you say, recreational again, and putting in more camping areas, designated picnic areas, designated beach.
Master bathrooms.
I mean, make it where it's a place that people go and visit again. So me and Nate have expressed my ideas with Nate on that one.
Thank you, Bryce. Anybody else have any questions for Bryce? Seeing none? All right. Let's move along to item number 9. Consider approval of the fiscal year 2024-2025 municipal solid waste collection and disposal contract with Davis Sanitation, including 2 one-year options for a net rate increase of 2% over the contract price for fiscal year 2023-2024, receipt of certification by the city manager that such purchase in the public interest pursuant to section 7-114. Questions on the contract with Davis Sanitation?
I had a question I was reading through about the tree branch removal.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was a regularly, I thought there was like a once a year or something, bring your branches out.
No?
So to me, that's,
Yeah, if you call the city or if you call Davis, who do you call to get that picked up?
so
City.
you've got to be proactive enough to call ahead and go, I've got some larger branches.
If you have it at the curb piled up, right?
Well, he will come around. He's supposed to come around monthly, and with a winch and a
For the
truck.
larger stuff.
And pick that up. And I'm sure he's gonna do it on a schedule, but that has always been there. But Larry last year said that the city would take care of that. And I said, well, but it's in the contract. And he said, but they're not doing a good job. And so I said, well, let's make them, do it. But who was doing, we were doing it, weren't we?
Davis Sanitation, you used to do it pretty regularly. It kind of got where there were some issues, but they had staffing issues, and plus, they put those limbs in the trash truck. So they were not picking up as many when there was larger trash days, and so people were getting, well, I called in, it's not getting picked up. Well, it's because they put them, and that's why they had to be no longer than 4 feet, no bigger than 4 inches around, because they were actually putting them in the trucks.
Oh, they didn't have a separate truck to go around, it was their trash truck.
And then,
For the
right.
things that they could fit.
Right.
Yeah, for the small stuff. And then they were supposed to go around once a month and pick up larger items, you know, the bigger things. And that haven't been done.
But when we raised this, and it was a while ago, but when we came up with this contract and that provision, the rate went up like 30% for that collection fee. I mean, that was a major part of what the city council wanted done. And the fee reflected that. So it's been in there. If you approve this, he has signed it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You'll
Yes,
have
he
that and 2-year options. There's also, if you've looked at the contract, there's provisions in there for enforcement, you know, of any of these provisions. But, I think, he's a great person to work with. We just set our expectation and I think he's always met it, so.
He's been a good service provider, and he's
Yes.
also worked with us in years when we've had tough times and things like that. He's withheld the 2% a couple times,
Yes.
I think, in the last 10 years. So, good provider. I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have roll call.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Calderon.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Right, item number 10. Consider approval of agreement with Jana A. Walker, CPA, to prepare the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit for the city and its subordinate components. So again, moving forward with our new auditor that we approved last year to do the audit again.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Calderon.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 11, consider approval of the manual of standard operating procedure for the city of Perry Animal Control and Shelter. I believe we have Nate, are you representing this, or Savannah?
I am here if you have any questions.
Okay, you're here if we have any questions. All right, take it away, Nate.
Okay, so basically, we thought for a while that we had the animal control shelter in the fee schedule. It was not in the fee schedule, so this is just adding it to the fee schedule as an official act, which really has to be approved by the council. So yeah, it's really not changing what we've done in terms of the animal shelter and the fees associated with that. It's just formalizing the account.
Any questions, anybody?
So this is the handbook or the manual for standard operating procedure, is that what you're talking about? Or is it mom?
Yes.
Never mind, one ahead.
No, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. I thought it was very good. It did concern me though that on page 4, protecting the safety and welfare of the citizens was number 4 on the list. That seemed a little bit inappropriate. They're going to educate me before they protect me.
That's part of
I
the
had-
protection.
And I realize they aren't numbered, they're dotted, but it's still,
I had
I would
found-
love to see my safety moved to the top. if we
Do you
could.
want to motion to approve it with that amendment?
No, I'm just going to whine about it.
Now on all standard operating procedures manuals, send them to Randy to read through. Make them thick.
I'll second that motion.
These were not always prioritized, but we could probably make that.
I guess I just had a question on the fees. It's, fee is due at time of removal. Is that what I'm writing a check to the control officer and handing it to them, or can we just bill it to, put it on our utility bill?
Savannah, were you here to answer questions?
Yes.
Thank you. Because I don't know the answer to
We can't
that.
add things to their utility bill.
Nothing like that. Thanks for coming, by the way. Brian got sick last minute, so he was supposed to be here.
And the full-time animal control officer had a prior engagement, she could not be here. I did not quite hear your question.
Well, I was just wondering whenever these fees that, to either bring a trap or to remove the trap, once the animal's been caught, I guess I'm just gonna pay you when you show up with the trap.
We do have a receipt book, that is how it has been. And we do write, a formal receipt and give it to you, and we can make change as well. So you can give it to us at the time of removal, yes.
I just thought it might be a convenience if they could just add it to your address for the bill, but if that can't be done.
We could look into it. We could look into doing that.
Well, that was just one of my questions.
That could be added later.
Yeah.
I just was impressed with the services that are available that I don't know that we do a good job of. I had no idea that you have live traps that you can check out.
Advertising that,
And that
yeah.
I can bring my deceased pet to, I mean, it's all good stuff.
Oh, we never had anything in writing. And I took this national manual for another city, by the way, charged them for it. And then just did a find replace for Prairie. It was like 70 pages long, and gave it to these folks, and they culled it. They spent a long time, I think, and culled it down into a working document, which is much better than what I gave them, and then straightened out the dollars and some of that on it. So I don't get any of the credit, except I asked, what do we have? Do we have anything? And I found that we didn't really have anything. So I felt, we have a police policy procedure manual. It's important to have a manual for the animal control too. So that's kind of how that happened. But they did a great job of working with it over a period of several weeks.
With the new website, is this something that we can make available to the public?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'd like to do something where we, along with the approval of the budget, where we have a fee schedule section where you're approving increases or decreases or changes to fees as well.
And the public can go and see that easily.
Yeah, so, and we'll make that part of the budget, and then also I'd like it as a separate fee schedule document. So that's all in the works. Probably not top priority, but it's in the works.
That'd be all fee schedules, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Motion to approve the manual of standard operating procedures for the City of Perry Animal Control and Shelter.
Second.
Okay, motion and second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Vegas.
Yes.
Caldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 12, consider voting for 2 trustees for a 3-year term starting July 1st, 2024 on the Board of Trustees for the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, and authorize the mayor to sign and file the ballot. We've got all right. So it's kind of like last year where there was a lot of people that none of us knew.
Right.
Well, there's not a lot of information to make you know them any better
Right.
I
either.
do have it on good accord that Michael Shannon from Guyman would be good. He's interim now, but he was the city manager previously as well in that area. And left for a little while and things weren't doing well and he came back and doing great. So he might be a good option.
there's one. We gotta pick one more.
What was the name on that one?
Michael Shannon?
Michael Shannon. And we need one more. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
wish there was one that lived closer to Perry.
Yeah.
There's an
Ponca.
Enid one.
Enid or
David
Ponca.
Mason,
Yeah.
anybody know
Enid
him?
one now.
Mhm.
I do. Sharp guy. He's been on the council and then he served as mayor. He took a stand against the Nazi. You know, became national news, so.
Seems like a good thing to take a stand.
We fought a war over it. How do you take the other side on that one?
Well, I guess I were too.
I would go with David Mason.
Michael Shannon?
Okay, so Michael Shannon.
Kind of going with the Western Oklahoma theme there, but
Okay, so Michael Shannon and David Mason.
All right, so yeah, Michael Shannon and David Mason. Motion for those two?
So moved.
Okay, motion second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
How
Yes.
come it doesn't say that by his name?
I know, right?
Yeah, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying he's a Nazi. That's
He
what,
stood up to the.
I
that's
know, I got Nazi fighter out of what you said.
exactly.
Famous Nazi fighter.
I think we would make national news if we were going Florida.
Yeah, let's make sure that doesn't get in the news.
Let's clarify that.
All right, well, item 13. Consider authorizing the mayor to execute a non-exclusive access easement over and across the 3S Way and the Perry Industrial Park Access Way in the sale of parcel number 8 from South River Investment Company to For the Sell of It LLC and Oklahoma Limited Liability Company, Daniel Lee Shade.
Daniel Shade, buying through this company, is buying that lot, and that lot is the lot that's just south of the first Crow business there. It's a nice lot. I wish that we'd known it was for sale, make a nice parking lot for the ball field. But he is buying it. Now, why this? Well, you know, we never platted all of it. We just sold off lots, and we're the owner of the street, okay? You know, we could have had it platted, we could have done it, but we didn't go to that expense, pretty much because we didn't know how the property would sell, exactly how it would sell. I mean, we kind of put it in parcels, and it has sold in accordance with those parcels, but we weren't sure how it was going to do. So what we provided, I provided an easement to use that industrial road for the owner. For some reason, the easement didn't apply to successors and assigns, and so I made it apply to successors and assigns, and I made sure it was limited in scope. It's non-exclusive, it's for access only, so there's no other use. It's just for his access there, and it's non-exclusive. You can give that to other folks. So it's something that they required because the prior owner had it as a part of closing, and in order to issue an easement, it needs to come to you. No harm. It's a right to use the road. That's all it is.
So he's buying it from another private individual.
Yes, they were going to put in, they bought it to put in a major oil and gas entity, and then, you know, things were going very, very well here in oil and gas, and then right about that, and they paid $10,000 an acre for it, as I remember, and then it all went south, you know.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, item 14, consider approval of the lot split replat of lots 6 through 7, block 88, town site of North and West Perry to provide lots 1 through 4. And we have Trey Smith with Big.
Yes, sir.
Here with that. Do you have any questions on that?
So is this the old elementary location?
No,
Mhm.
no, that's something else that will be coming soon. That's Cottage Edition. I'm not sure where this is.
This is the
Right
property
across the street
right
from the
next to
swimming
the
pool, so where
Lions.
the tennis courts are.
Oh, okay.
It's right across the street, right across
Okay.
13th Street.
And what they did is they took 2 lots that went one way and made it 4 lots that went the other way so that they could build homes. That is your plan?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. 4 homes, increased density, lower cost.
Right.
Are these more of those cottage
They're
homes?
cottages, yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's the square footage on that gonna be?
About 865.
So these are
Say
similar to the ones
865?
on Market,
They're about 200 square foot larger.
larger than those ones? Okay. Nice.
And they'll face towards the park.
Towards the park.
Yep, correct.
All 4?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here
And
it
it's-
Yeah, you
shows
got birch
a map.
and cedar. Or,
So all 4 will kind of come out of the driveway for the tennis court?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, is that really a full street or is?
It kind of,
What was the question?
is it a full street?
That, they'll all face the driveway that goes into the tennis courts. Is that a real street?
That's
Yeah, that's
13th.
13th Street.
It's 13th Street.
The other
It's
part
not-
is an alley.
Yeah. Well,
No,
it's
it's Birch Street.
Birch.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
They run, it runs at an angle there. It's still only about a half a block, but it's Cedar and Birch.
Okay.
It's, yeah.
Motion to approve the lot split.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call.
Coffee,
Abstain.
Ledso,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Koldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Trey.
Thank you, Trey.
Appreciate it.
All right, item 15, consider terminations for convenience. A, consider termination for convenience of professional services agreement between the City of Perry and Myers Engineering Consulting Engineers Incorporated pursuant to section 3.01A.2 on the water treatment plant roof replacement over treatment trains. And B, consider termination for convenience of professional services agreement between the City of Perry and Myers Engineering Consulting Engineers Incorporated pursuant to section 3.01A.2 on the water systems improvement DWSRF project line 1 project.
Yeah, so I can speak to this. The recommendation is just that we terminate these contracts. Myers has had a lot of turnover and things like that going on, and it would just be convenient for us to terminate those contracts. They've done some work, and we can take that work they've done and pass it on to whomever we choose to finish that work off.
At the time, will we need a motion independently on A and B?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's permitted under the contract. I think there's a contract
There's no
provision,
penalty
there's
or-
no
There's no
penalty.
penalty,
You
yeah.
just have to pay them up through the time that, for the work that they've done, to the date they received the termination notice. The notices have been prepared, I think they were attached to your agenda.
Have we paid for any work that hasn't been done?
Possibly. What we'll do is we'll evaluate, and when I send them this letter, it'll say, hey, we paid you for this, we expect this in return. So at that point, we would, fight over, if it comes to that, fight over, hey, you guys owe us this back because you never did this thing. But I've frozen all future invoices for the time being, so we don't get any more payments that we then have to recoup.
Gotcha. These were the only 2 projects that we had left with them.
There's one other project, and that is the
The railroad?
taking the residuals out of the water treatment plant. We may,
Yeah, so that one's 95%
Okay.
completed in terms of bills. Their job wasn't to take them out, but rather just to get bids
Have a plan,
on what
yeah.
it would cost. So, yeah, that one we weren't going to terminate because it's 95% finished.
I would move then that we terminate for convenience Section A on the roof of the water treatment plant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion in a couple seconds. Roll call on that one.
Coffee?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Goldar?
Yes.
Rupp?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Wortham?
Yes. Now for item B.
Motion to terminate professional services agreement for convenience with the DWSRF project.
Second.
Okay, motion and second.
Coffee?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Goldar?
Yes.
Rupp?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Wortham?
Yes. Item 16, consider approval of payment of $26,625 to Cimarron Valley Engineering LLC for engineering contract and on-call services provided. So this is work for Matco.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second.
And my brain was a lot faster than my fingers on that one. Coffee?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Goldar?
Yes.
Rupp?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Wortham?
Yes. All right, item 17, consider approval of change order number 2 with Lone Hickory Cattle LLC on the water system improvement DWSRF project number 940-102-1206-2 and appropriate sufficient monies for the change order and identify the funding source. So what is our funding source?
The funding source is the
Existing reserves.
Say that again.
Our existing reserves.
Yeah, the existing reserves for, not specifically for that project, but just.
Exactly.
So we've used all those monies that we have for.
yes, all that are appropriated, you know, that included what you budgeted for this year, and it included the leftover loan money. And so, yeah, it would be an additional. And of course, you allocated part of that money to the roof project. So, you know, whether it's part of that kind of appropriation, you take a little bit from the roof, or you know, or not, because we don't have a price on that yet. But those were your two, you know, big capital projects. Finish this one and the roof, but. You know, when you approve this, you need to designate a source, and we do have an estimate. So the reserve, but if we don't do that, we could take it from existing appropriation if there are monies there.
But that is the purpose of the change order, right? Is because we hadn't allocated enough for this change order, which is pretty typical in projects like this.
Right. Did they have an estimate?
It was for the insertion valve, I think.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see an amount.
It's like $21,000.
Okay.
See if it's, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty familiar. I've already seen this.
It just says 1 10-inch insertion valve.
Right.
Yeah, he told me that there was one $21,000, it was a unit price in the contract for $21,000, but it was per insertion valve, and so we can kind of do it under that unit price, but that was the number I was informed.
Okay,
Yeah, and
so we're
those-
adding one insertion valve.
So we're adding a unit price, yes.
Yeah, those valves are very expensive. They have to be custom made. The unit itself is, I think, about 12 of that 21. And then the other cost with that is the actual inserting of the valve, which they have to use specialized equipment to do. So, I mean, initially when I saw it, I was like, holy cow, that's an expensive valve. And that's the reason why.
So what was the funding source?
Our existing reserves, our
Existing.
carryover, yeah.
I move that we approve the change order number 2 for Lone Hickory Cattle LLC.
Second.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
This, by the way, is recommended by Matt. I mean, he's recommending that we do this, and this is gonna benefit us. It's not something from the contractor.
And I can give some background on that too, I guess. The reason why is because while the contractor's in there doing this project that they're currently working on, it opens up all that area. If the valve, or if the pipe were to break after it's all buried, we would have to go back in and bear the full cost of opening it back up. And the valve is, or the pipe is old enough that we are concerned that it would break.
So getting that before they.
Yeah, kind of just knocking it out at the same time so that we're already taking advantage of the work they're doing.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, item 18, consider convening into executive session for the purpose of conferring on a matter pertaining to the economic development of the city of Perry, namely the transfer of property, financing, or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to locate within their jurisdiction. The public disclosure of matter discussed would interfere with the development of a proposal, and which would promote economic and tourism development of the city.
Second.
All right, motion and a second.
Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, so we've had a motion and a second to reconvene. Let's have roll call.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item 20, take any action with respect to executive session, including the approval of an economic development agreement with Richard Crowe to provide for the construction, operation, and maintenance of a tourism-related arena to be located in the Perry Industrial Park.
I would move we approve the economic development agreement with Richard Crowe.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's have roll call.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right. Anybody want to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Take your pick.
All of those, okay. Okay. Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, let me know when you're ready. You're ready? Derek's ready, so we're going.
And yes.
All right, let's call our meeting to order for Perry Municipal Authority, May 13th, 2024, and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Brown. Wortham.
Here. All right, we have quorum. Item 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. And adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's call our meeting to order for the Perry Facilities Authority, May 13th, 2024, and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Present. Goldar.
Present.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Brown. And Wortham.
Here. All right, we've got quorum. Item 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams. Wortham.
Yes. Item 4, adjourned.
Second.
All right.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
I guess.
We didn't do that.
Yes.